Welcome back, everybody. Today we're gonna take a look at the Marshall JCM800 2203. Enjoy. So, just like the last time, we'll start the video with a disclaimer. It's probably gonna be a pretty long video, and if you don't want to watch all of it, just check the timestamps in the comments. The signal chain for the demo track consisted in an Edwards Explorer with a Seymour Duncan Custom 5 in the bridge. Then we have a Pepers Pedals 33, which is a 1433 clone. Then we have the Marshall JCM800 2203. Mine is an horizontal input version made in 1989. Going into a Torpedo Captor load box and DI box. Then we have a Focusrite 2i4 interface. That's pretty basic. And for impulses, I'm using Ownhammer's 1960B Marshall cab, loaded with V30s and mic'd up with an SM57. As for post-processing, I haven't used any EQ or compression on the guitars, aside from a multi-band compressor on the mix bus. The reason why I choose the Dirty 3 over a regular TS9 or OD808 is because it does a much better job at filtering out the unwanted low end, and it doesn't give any characteristic mid hump to a tube screamer. But you can get the same results with a regular tube screamer, so don't worry about that. Alright, so by today's standards, the layout of the front panel is super basic. We have presence, bass, middle, treble, master, and preamp, which means basically gain. Let's see how it sounds with everything on noon and with the gain all the way up. So as you can probably hear, there's not enough gain going on, or at least for metal. And once I will turn on the OD, the amp is really gonna come to life. So a lot of people like to use these amps with the presence knob all the way down because they are already super bright. Let's hear how it sounds. Let's do a sweep. I usually don't have a preferred position for the presence knob. It really depends on whatever I'm playing at the moment. But I tend to go from somewhere like 0 all the way to 8. It really depends, but never on maximum because it honestly just sounds like dog shit on maximum. For the mix, I had it on 5. This amp doesn't really have much bass, and I usually don't really keep it lower than 7 when playing in standard. For the demo track, I had it set to 8. Now, the mids are entirely subjective, and I found myself fiddling with the mid knob from somewhere around 4 all the way to 8 sometimes. It really depends on what impulses you're using when recording. For the mix, I had it set to 7. Same thing for treble, but I honestly rarely move them from 5 because after 5 it tends to get super fizzy, and I don't really like that for rhythm guitars. For the demo track, I had them set to 5. Now, the master volume. The position of the master volume is a super touchy subject, especially with these amps, because people like to use them really loud. But after you go past 4, you'll get the power tube distortion kicking in, and that's a good thing if you play sludge or doom metal or stuff like that. But if you're recording rhythm guitars in metal, you're gonna want to have them tight, and power tube distortion is not really tight. It's super muddy and flabby. So yeah, additionally, if I'm under 3, it tends to be super fizzy. I had the gain set all the way up in the demo track. Under 8, I think, is just not enough gain. So I have here my Solar A2.6 baritone in B tuning. The stock Solar pickups are pretty much the same as the Seymour Duncan Custom 5s I have on the other guitar. The only difference here is the scale length and tuning, of course. So let's see how it sounds. Alright, to sum it up, I think the JCM800 2203 is an amazing amplifier, but it has its shortcomings. First of all, you can only get one sound out of it, and I mean, I don't know why else would you buy a JCM800 if you don't want the JCM800 sound. But some of the biggest shortcomings would be the amount of gain, which is pretty low if you're playing death metal. There are some simple mods which you can do on these amps, which are as easy as just taking a tube out and replacing it with this device that's basically two gain stages in one. It's called a Soldano Hotmod. Unfortunately, you can rarely find one for sale, and they're quite expensive. But I found somebody in US that still makes them, and I'll have one to demo in about 2 weeks. Another issue would be the lack of an effects loop. If you get a JCM800 from the 80s, the reissue version comes with an effects loop. Now, before finishing the video, I'd like to thank everybody from Petal Birds of Derm for the support, and Ola England's Discord group. You guys are amazing. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. I can't really upload regularly, but I do whenever I can. I'm currently busy with the finals. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.